Hey everyone, Mark here from thosegamingnerds.com, and this is going to be the first actual video review for a video game that we're going to be doing. Or, well, I am. There's going to be others that are going to be posting videos as well. But today, I'm going to be reviewing Pokemon White for the DS system. And I'm going to start off by saying I haven't played a Pokemon since Fire Red on the Game Boy Advance, I think it was, back when I was waiting in line to get a Nintendo Wii for midnight launch. So I haven't played any in a while, so this is kind of like my unbiased slash sort of old school biased review. First off, new area, what was it, Unova? I think it's Unova. Yeah, the Unova region is the new area of the game takes place. 150 new Pokemon for you to catch and discover, and it's basically just like all the other ones. I'm going to list all the things that are the same. Alright, you get to pick from a fire, grass, or water type Pokemon in the beginning. You get to pick whether or not to be a boy or a girl, and you get to name yourself. There's going to be 8 gyms. Then you get to go to the Elite Four, and you get to face a champion. And then there's credits in the game. Alright, and some of the other things that are the same from the, like, that they started implementing are like the seasons and weather, night and day. So all the same elements that made the game great, they kept in. And the newer things that they added in were dual type Pokemons, which is they had, you can have a fighting fire, a steel ground type, you have ghost dark, you have psychic and grass. It makes things more in depth when you're trying to create a team or when you're actually trying to face a gym leader, and you're now, if you think they're ice, but then they're like, oh wait, it's kind of fighting in ice, and it's like, okay, so this won't work now, and then you got to change everything around. So that's, something they added and made it in depth. The thing that made me most excited about the game when I finally got them unlocked and was able to play them were the triple battles. And it's not 3 people against 3 people. It's actually 1 trainer, 3 Pokemon, 1 trainer, 3 Pokemon, and they face off. You start off with your main Pokemon that's in the first spot, the one on the right, and the one on the second one down on the left. And what happens is, it's not you pick each move and then each Pokemon attacks taking turns. Only one Pokemon who's in front of this platform that spins fights at a time. So you can sit there if you want, hypothetically. You have to pig, you level them up. He evolved twice, and now he's Umbor, or Emboar, the fighting fire type. And say, you have him at level 65, and you're facing someone who's 65, and you one-hit knock out his grass-type Pokemon. The disc will rotate, the next Pokemon will come up, you guys will fight, or instead of choosing your attack, you can, underneath your moves, you see a wheel that's counterclockwise or clockwise. Which one you pick depends on which way the platform moves and which Pokemon steps up. Now when you do that with your Pokemon and you rotate the disc, it doesn't take a turn away like it would if you were just switching out your Pokemon in the middle of a battle. You still get to fight your attack, which I think was interesting. It made things more in depth, and you have to also watch out about which 3 Pokemon now you have up front, because you never know when it's going to be a triple battle. And then there's also double battles too, which are just a normal double. 2 Pokemon, you pick both moves and they attack, and that's that. But you never know, so you always want to keep track of which Pokemon are in what position, because you never know when those are going to happen, and you want to be prepared, because the last thing you want to do is have your 2 fire Pokemon and a fighting in your top 3 spots, and the next thing you know, you're going up against Psychic and Water types. You're kind of screwed. So I felt that was a great addition in the game. Another thing I noticed, it's more story driven now, and more character development, actually. I mean, you can laugh saying, oh, it's Pokemon, there's not that much character development, but there really is if you actually read the dialogue and don't skip through what they're saying and actually tell. Like the 2 people who, you don't have a rival, I noticed. When you start the game, you don't name your rival, there is none. You have 2 friends who are your companions, but they don't stay with you the whole game. They're with you in the beginning, then they go their own way, and they're off on their own separate storylines, which I could see, maybe if they ever wanted to, they can do a side story game where you actually see what they're doing. You have Bianca, who's the neighbor girl who just basically never really traveled before, wants to go out and just see the world and meet new Pokemon and make friends with everybody. Then you get Charon, who's the knows everything, wants to be the best trainer, wants to win every fight type, and will just keep going and going until he's like the best trainer and be the Pokemon champion. But they always have that type. That's like going back to Pokemon Red and Blue, where, you know, your Professor Oak's grandson wanted to just be the best, wanted to beat you every time. So that's nothing new for a character, but then, you know, there's always a conflict of the storyline, and then, you know, of course they have the evil team that you gotta attack that is always going to try and do something with changing the world, and that's Team Plasma this time. And this time they actually want to just take all the Pokemon from trainers and liberate them and free them, so no Pokemon trainers will have Pokemon. At least that's what they tell you at the beginning. I'm not gonna, this is my spoiler-free review, so you're not gonna get any information on what actually happens in that. So yeah, and then there's N, Lord N, or N. He's the main dude, the antagonist. I don't know, he has green hair, and I'm just, in his shoes, he has green shoes and green hair, so it kind of matches, so I'm just like, oh, cool. And I've seen people cosplaying already as him at PAX East and other conventions. I've seen people already dressing up, so I guess, you know, he's the new cool Pokemon dude. Don't care. But it's definitely a fun game. I do enjoy it. It's I don't know really what to say because it's just a Pokemon game, but there's new elements in it. Like, they have, one of the things that bothers me, the 3DS is coming out in what, basically 3 days, and I figured, you know, maybe this game would have 3D support, maybe not. It doesn't. Just letting you guys, it's not a 3DS game. It's not going to be 3DS, but it has 3D qualities to it, like visually, but not like the 3D popping on the screen. It just has the CG to it, and it's very, you know, polished, nice. And there's actually like mini cutscenes here and there, which I love. I like how they added that in, so it's not just it's not boring anymore, and that's what I like, because Pokemon games get repetitive after a while. But this time, the whole world isn't open to you at first. You only get a certain set path you can go, but you can still explore, like caves and everything. But it's not until after you beat the game and after the credits where the whole world is open to you. Then you can go to new towns that you couldn't go before, and you can go to catch Pokemon you couldn't see before, and then you can go hunt down the legendary Pokemon, which I noticed there are a lot of. There's, you know, Rasham and Zekrom, or whatever their names are. Those two, which are, you know, one's for black, one's for white. Then they got 3 of the dog ones. I like to refer to them as the dog ones because everyone remembers the original, like, 3 mythological dogs. Well, you got 2 that look like deer and one that looks like a bulldog with a pit bull. So there's 3 of them, and then there's 3 other ones that look like Kabuki men on clouds. And then you got Victini, which, if you get the game before April 10th, there's no way you can get it. You will get you can go to the Wi-Fi on the start menu when you start the game before you load your game, and you can get the gift voucher for the Liberty Pass, and then you can get Victini, which is like a little mouse type Pokemon, but it's really strong, level 15, but it's a pain in the ass to catch, and you will waste a lot of balls throwing them at him. You will waste a lot of Pokeballs trying to catch him. Balls and all that. But he's tough, and he's psychic type and fire, so that's kind of cool. And then there's also another dragon that's after everything, and so there's just so many that it's hard to keep up with, like how many legendary there are. And some of the, because I'm already almost at the 10-minute mark, I'm going to go over the differences now between black and white. Pokemon White, besides the fact that you gotta catch different Pokemon, there's a city that's different. After you beat the game, you can now go to this eastern road to where a new town is. If you're playing Pokemon Black, it's called Black City, which is set more futuristic, you know, very robust city that's growing and full of people and this and that. And then if you're playing Pokemon White, you get White Forest, which is kind of rustic. There's log cabins, people just hanging out in fields, and still the futuristic Pokemon Center. I don't understand that, but that's besides the point. And you get to actually catch classic Pokemon in White Forest. Like, there's an Abra in there, Ditto, who else? There's just Nidoran, male and female, Rattata. There's just, you know, tons of classic Pokemon. And the thing that's cool is using the Entra link with your Pokemon White to a friend that has Pokemon Black, you can go into their city and you can recruit people, residents, to come back to White Forest and move in to White Forest and expand it. But it doesn't really expand it, it just adds more Pokemon to it, and you can get up to 10 people to come over to your White Forest and live there. Total, not like per time you visit. And every time you get a new person, it changes the forest a little bit, and then a whole bunch of new Pokemon will show up that are classic. And that's actually really cool, makes more interactions, so it makes it so, oh, hey, do you have Pokemon White? I have Pokemon Black. Do you want to visit my city? Check it out. Get you some new Pokemon. There you go. Besides that, the difference is really not that much other than which legendary Pokemon you get, but like I said, Wi-Fi and the internet, you can just trade and get those. And I'm trying to think what else is... Oh, you can actually now, if you have Pokemon, any of the older DS ones, you can actually trade Pokemon up to Black and White. Not trading, but you can just send them. The only thing is you have to watch out, you can't have any items on them or they won't trade up. And now you have to have 2 DSs for this to work. Actually, that's the only downside. It won't work if with one DS, like you can't save it to like the memory or on the SD card that you can put in the slot, and none of that works. It has to be 2 separate DSs. I haven't tried it over the internet. I know you can do it infrared. And also, if you want, I'm going to put a link. Oh, well, before we do all that, because I only got a couple minutes left, to Dream World. I'll put a link in the information. The Dream World is, you can send only certain Pokemon can go there. You send them into the Dream World via the Wi-Fi, and they can actually get rare items for you, and they can actually find Pokemon, like starter Pokemon. Like you get a Bulbasaur or a Charmander or a Squirtle out there. You can, do that. You just have to send a Pokemon in there and just let it hang out, basically, and then bring it back. The website is down until March 30th, so you have to wait. There's a website that you sign up to get everything going. I will put that in the link, as well as both my friend codes for Black and White. If you want to trade, you can make comments. But other than that, there's nothing really out because I don't want to mess up and spoil anything. So we will end the video on that, and thank you guys for watching, and feel free to comment, subscribe, leave your friend codes in the comments, and get something going with trading and battling, because it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking to find more people to do that with. Thank you for watching the video. You guys subscribe, comment, like it, do all that good jazz, and we have some more videos coming up actually, and I will have a spoiler version of this, which goes more in depth, coming up really soon. So thank you for watching once again, and I'm Mark from ThoseGamingNerds.com.